Momosa, Chelsea,
Laura,
and today we are doing our first official video. We actually asked one of our really good friends to do an interview of us, which he's gonna be behind the camera, but somebody near and dear to us, and just so you can get to know us better. We, oh, a little side note, have no idea what the questions are. We have had no time to prepare, so this is like 100% authentic, organic, you name it.
real deal.
Yes, real deal. So we have not been able to prepare for this.
All right.
So wish us luck. Okay.
All right, ready.
All right, so the first question I want to ask you guys is, how did this all come about? You guys wanting to start, you know, Confessions of a Mimosa. Where did it come about from?
So we take a walk pretty much every day to Starbucks, and we have the most random conversations.
Just to intervene, we work together.
Yes.
So like our corporate everyday job, we work together.
Yes. So yeah, we were just walking, talking about real life, like mom stuff, relationship stuff, just whatever. And then we were like, fuck, we're funny.
Yeah, like our everyday walk just turned into like, oh my gosh, like this is totally relatable. We want to share it. And there's other people out there that obviously, hopefully, want to know.
Want to know about us. Yeah, so it started as a daily walk
Ring
to
light is
Starbucks.
freaking-
I know. I see circles. I can make it less bright.
I see circles everywhere.
There.
So what exactly are you trying to share? Are you guys trying to like give advice or just tell stories? What are you trying to share?
Not advice unless somebody wants advice.
Yeah, it's definitely not for advice because there's a million other moms out there that are willing to do that. I think this is really just a chance to be able to just openly discuss what every mom thinks. We all know you think it. And it's just a platform to be funny. It's not serious. It's not... Take it with a grain of salt. If we can make one mom laugh, because we've all been there.
One mom laugh and not feel alone.
Exactly.
I have fucked up my whole 18 years of being a mom.
I've been puked in my mouth. Like, we all know you've been there. And, like, if you can't laugh at yourself, then what are you doing?
Right. Yeah,
Pretty
so
much.
it's more just to...
It's comedic.
Yeah, it's comedic. It's to make sure that people know that they're not alone.
Yeah, agreed.
So you guys said you guys take this walk during your break at work all the time. What type of work do you do? What industry are you in?
Sales.
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 Period. Next.
We're in sales.
We do sales.
So on your social media, there's a lot of like Louis Vuitton purses, vacations. Like, are you too rich?
No.
I used to be. No, we're not rich. We're
Not rich.
very average.
Super average moms.
I have the Louis Vuitton. It was a gift from my husband.
I take the vacations. Not rich at all. Not freaking poor.
That was
but
a
not
good
rich.
question. We're not poor. Like, we live well. We're
Middle age. Middle age.
We're middle age.
Middle
We're middle
class.
class.
I'm almost middle age.
We should have prepared for these questions.
Okay.
This is terrible.
This is good. Middle class, everyday mom.
I wish I had no morals, and then I could be like one of the Instagram models and really jet set on a PJ, but that's not happening.
So how old are your kids?
I have an 18-year-old daughter, almost in 1 week, and an 8-year-old son.
I have a 2.5-year-old, almost gonna be 3 in May. Just one.
So Laura, you have an 18-year-old. Can you remember where you were at or when you found out that you were pregnant?
Yes.
Oh, that's
I remember exactly. I was 18
out.
when I was pregnant, and I remember sitting in my apartment while her father was at work. And
did you take a pregnancy test?
I took 10 of them.
Same.
I took 10 of them, and then I went to Planned Parenthood to make sure that the EPT tests were not lying to me.
Like, for real?
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
super scared. I remember calling my friend and being like, I'm like 2 months late on my period. This is very weird.
2 months?
I was 18.
You didn't realize after a month?
I was 18.
Yeah, that's a long time.
I've had my period for like
saying
2
that's
years.
impressive. 2 months? That's a long time.
I got my period when I was 16 and I was 18 when I was pregnant. Like,
Yeah, but it didn't come every month?
I was fucking 18.
I'm just asking.
I was 18.
So once
Yeah.
you found out, did you have an instant connection with your baby?
No. So after the 10 EPT tests and then going to, hey,
Can you get out?
buddy.
Can you go? Christian, go.
Go get Lane.
Ross. Sorry, that's my kid and he's sick. Oh yeah,
Yeah, go
that's
get
yours.
it.
Can you go give that to Daddy, please? Go give it to Daddy. Well, that's real life.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Love you.
So
Can you lock it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
after I found out I was pregnant and after Planned Parenthood confirmed it, I actually considered abortion. So no, not an instant connection, but
Oh wow.
a
I didn't know
connection
that.
afterwards, yeah.
It's real life. It's real life.
Yeah.
So you considered abortion, but what changed your mind?
So before they could do the abortion, I had to go get an ultrasound to make sure that I wasn't past the 12 weeks, and I heard her heartbeat, and so
that'll do
that's
it. That'll
that
do
was
it.
the connection.
That was
So you
good.
just saw this little tiny blob and this heart beating, and it was like kind of instant love at that point.
Dude, the minute you hear that, there's just like no,
Yeah,
that would be a
it's
very
life.
hard decision.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's not like, everybody has their own choice, but like that makes it hard.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
it's like super life, and then yeah, she's been my best friend since that moment.
What about you, Chelsea, when you first found out? Do you remember how you felt? Was there an instant connection?
Yeah, so I actually had no idea that I was pregnant. I found out really early, and my really good girlfriend, very close to me, was like, oh my god, you're pregnant, I know it. And I was like, girl, you're crazy, I'm not pregnant. I'm gonna start my period. I have every sign to start my period. My boobs hurt, and I was moody and whatever. And she was just like, let's go take a test. And I was like, girl, you're crazy, I'm not pregnant. And she's like, I'll buy it for you. And I'm like, fine, you can buy it, because they're not cheap. And so we went to Walgreens one day at lunch. She bought me a test, and I literally took it in the Walgreens bathroom, and I peed on the stick, set it on the little toilet paper dispenser, and it immediately popped up pregnant, all capitals, and I didn't even know what to do. I was just so in that moment, your life changes. There's just it's just holy shit, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
Just because you're pregnant doesn't mean that there's not a baby there. Your life immediately changes. You're I don't even know how to put it into words.
Right, you're just flooded.
You're flooded. Yeah, you're flooded. And I took the test because my friend's like, what is it? What is it? And I slid it under the door, and I didn't even have words to say. And she's like, oh my god, you're pregnant. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna
So
do.
how different did it feel?
And I was 28.
Yeah.
I was grown up, and I still was that scared.
So, Chelsea,
What?
It's done.
What
What's
is it?
done? Oh,
Did
this.
you poke it?
Yeah.
Just pull it.
So take the top off and do 10 more minutes.
10 more?
Yeah. We're making lasagna.
Make sure to lock it.
Thank you.
We'll leave that part in.
so Laura had talked about how she, had thought about possible abortion. Now, I know you're married, Chelsea. Were you married when you found out you were pregnant?
No, so we were not married. We had been, so my husband and I dated on and off since college. And at the time I was 28 years old, so obviously I was older. I had a full-time job. I was financially stable and all of that. And my husband now, boyfriend at the time, was out golfing. And I literally was trying to take a picture of the pregnancy test. It wouldn't focus. So I just texted him and was like, I'm pregnant. And he immediately called me and was just like, stop, you're lying to me. And I was like, no, I'm pregnant. He's like, stop. And, you know, he's been drinking. He's out with his friends, whatever. And he's like, stop, you're joking. And I'm like, I'm fucking pregnant. Like, what are we going to do? And he's just like, oh my God, this is like the best news ever. We've always wanted kids. And I'm like, we're not married. We're not, like, no, like, this is it. And I'm very OCD, so to say. Like, I'm a control freak. So I'm like, this is not what I had planned for my life. Like, we're get married, we have kids, you know, you get the house. And so it was a big pill to swallow for me.
I think it's a big pill to swallow.
It's a big pill to swallow regardless if you're married and have a house and you're financially set. It's just a big pill because you don't know what to expect. And it's like literally in that instant, and you read the test and it says pregnant, you're just,
yeah, it's
there's
scary.
nothing that can explain that moment in your life.
No.
Like, it's just, even when you are trying.
I've
it's
never
just,
tried
like,
to have
so-
babies, so.
Right, but like there's moms out there that, you know, they go through IVF and
Sure.
in vitro and all these things, and like even when you are trying, you see that test, it's like, I just don't think anybody's prepared for that moment.
No.
Whether you're trying or not trying.
So would you say that there's not a specific age where, okay, at this age you'll be prepared?
No.
No, never.
Never.
Never. If somebody
Never.
tells you they're prepared,
They're lying.
I don't think they're lying, but they
I
have
do.
no idea what's gonna they have no clue what's gonna
They're
happen.
lying
It's
to
like
themselves.
you can't prepare for something like this.
Yeah.
You
I
can't.
think it's just different, right? Like when I found out I was pregnant with Parker, my daughter, I had been dating her dad for 6 weeks.
Yeah. That would be
6
really
weeks.
hard. That would be hard.
It was like literally like the third time we had sex, and
well, and you were a baby.
I was
like
18.
I can't even imagine having a kid at 18. Like I didn't even know.
it was super funny because
It was
it
hard.
was
That
like a
would've been
couple
hard.
weeks before Father's Day, and he was joking like, "Don't get me a card for Father's Day." And then like the week before, I call him at work, and I was like, "Hey, I hope you're sitting down because I'm pregnant."
I mean, I can imagine feeling that way at 28, where I was financially secure and like I had an amazing partner, and you know, we weren't married at the time, but we did get married before the baby was here, and I just could not imagine being 18 years old. Like, I just like props to you, literally. Like
It
that
probably
says a
was-
lot about your character. You know,
It
and
probably saved my life, though, to be honest.
that's
like-
really impactful.
yeah. I was
for sure.
definitely that party girl.
Yeah.
Dropped out of high school, and if I probably did not get pregnant at that time, I would.
She saved your life.
She saved my life. I'd probably be doing some like pretty crazy drug related.
Ratchet stuff.
Yeah.
So
They
this
probably wouldn't be
question,
good.
this question is for both of you. Are you guys raising your kids the way you were raised by your parents?
No.
Yes.
Explain.
My parents, God bless them, are just amazing individuals. Like, I just can't even. I honestly didn't think I would get, like, sad about this, but, like, they're just amazing. And if I could be, like, half the people they are, like, I would be amazing parents. Like, they're just awesome. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting emotional. Like, I thought this is gonna be I'm such a pussy. No, my parents, like, I mean, they come from, I have amazing parents. They came from great families. And,
So give me an example of how they raised you and what you're doing with Christian, where it's very similar.
they were very strict, but it was all out of love. It was nothing that was obnoxious or like out of control. You know, they just cared about us. And there was 4 of us. And I was actually talking about this yesterday. Like, I just can't believe that they were able to raise so many kids, and they didn't make a ton of money. And we had such a great childhood. We didn't know any different. You know, we didn't know, like, we didn't have the coolest clothes. You know, we shopped at Goodwill, and like, everything was an adventure. Like, they didn't ever make us feel like we were poor. We were, you know, we weren't poor, but they didn't have a ton of money. And it really, honestly, I think the hardest part about being a parent is making sure that your kid isn't an asshole. Like, instilling morals and instilling, you know, good habits and like pleases and thank yous and things like that, like that's really hard. I think that's the hardest part about being a parent. Anybody can have a kid. Anybody can feed a kid. Anybody can, you know, but it's really making sure that your kid, yeah. I didn't think I'd get like so oh my God, what was that?
I don't know.
Oh, weak
That's
bitch.
Good. You're good.
So
You're
Laura,
good.
are you raising your kids the way you were raised?
Not really, no. My parents were not strict. Not strict. My dad was never home. But my parents were together, and I've been a single mom my whole life. So I'm definitely more strict with my kids than my parents ever were to me. And just expect more from them than I was expected from me. You know, I definitely hold my kids much
But
more
you're very
accountable.
involved in your kid's life too.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you're
my
very
parents,
involved.
I mean, my dad and I have a very close relationship. I love my dad to pieces. He's my rock. But he wasn't around, and my mom kind of like, we didn't have a good relationship. She didn't really like me as I became an adult.
That's
So
hard.
sad to say.
That's hard.
But, you know, my kid and I, my daughter and I especially, we're friends. And we share things, and yeah, so it's much different. Like, I try to do the opposite of raising my kids of how my mom so much raised me. Not so much my dad. My parents are very separate, but...
Dude, I love my mom. I love that lady to death, but she drives me nuts. She does.
I
But
think
like,
moms are
there's
supposed
certain,
to.
I know, seriously, but there's certain things I'm like, I'm never gonna be like her. I'm never gonna be like my parents. And like, there's things that I say that I'm like,
I think
like
that's
I'm just
normal,
like
though.
my parents.
I
I'm just
definitely
like them.
drop things like that like my mom would have, but when it comes down to like the coreness of like letting me, like my parents let me do whatever I wanted to do, and I don't
See,
let my
didn't
kids
get
do that.
I didn't get to do that.
Like I would
It's
not
very
come
strict.
home.
I thought my parents were like not cool, but I totally understand why they were like not
Yeah.
cool.
Like I would stay out all night partying. I would
wish.
never let my kids do that.
Yeah, never.
ever.
But I wish I could do that. That's crazy.
I know exactly what they're gonna do when they're doing that. They're
So
not
Laura,
doing
you
it.
said your daughter's going to be 18. Obviously, big difference from Chelsea's son in age, at least. What is your biggest fear that you have now that she's 18?
There's so many fears.
What's your biggest?
The biggest is, did I raise her to be
That's a good question, man. That's a lot.
freaking human being? Like, is she gonna be
Yeah.
a good human? Like, is she gonna be able to take care of herself? Is she gonna be able to like
Life skills.
Yeah, I think so. I guess we'll find out here soon, but that's my biggest fear. Like, can she support herself? But will she still need me?
Will you still cuddle me, please?
So Chelsea, although your son's, quite younger, is there any big fears that you have for him in terms of growing up? What is your biggest fear if you'd had to nail it down to one?
My biggest fear, obviously, is his safety. Number one, I think the hardest part besides making sure your kid doesn't turn out to be an asshole is just obviously having this human being that's outside of your body, walking, talking, living, breathing, and you don't have control over the choices that they make, and you just pray that they make the right ones, and you can't be there 24/7. And I think that's honestly the scariest part about being a parent, is having a piece of your heart walk outside your body and you're not able to control that. But my second thing, and this honestly, my brother has Down syndrome, so I grew up in a household where we didn't know any better. He had a disability, and you just don't make fun of that. That was just what it was. We protected our brother like anybody else would their sibling. And I honestly think that one of my biggest fears is that my kid would bully other children, and that terrifies me. I never want my kid to be a bully, and I literally would do everything in my power so that doesn't happen. Or if I found out that that was happening, you know, that's just not what I stand for. That's not what I represent. And that does legitimately scare me. Like the bullying and the social media these days and all of that, that scares me a lot.
Yeah.